That was the end of Act Two of Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, performed by the Glyndebourne Opera Company in 1973. It's just come to my mind that that was, in fact, the very first opera I ever saw at the age of about 9, when we were taken by a very enterprising music teacher at our local primary school. In 1987, you returned to academia, this time to Liverpool University. Tell us about your years in that great city.
This was my dream job and my first professorship. I fully expected to end my career there. I became director of a research centre within the chemistry department. We started in 1987 with myself, my secretary, and an empty laboratory. And 5 years later, I had 2 deputies, and we had a group of about 50 students and staff, people and visitors associated with the department. We earned a lot of money and a lot of prestige for the university. But after 5 years, the university decided it wanted more. This was a result of a stupid department head, a greedy dean, and an incompetent vice-chancellor. Can you imagine that in a university? Within 2 years, myself and my 2 assistants had left. The university made an appointment, a bad appointment as my successor, and within 5 years the centre had closed. But I still think of Liverpool as an absolutely fabulous city, and I'm so pleased that they've managed to win the championship again after a small gap.
1994 saw your arrival in Nottingham, where you became Dean of Research and Graduate Studies at Nottingham Trent University. It was during this period that you met your second wife, Liz. That academic title sounds quite a responsibility and a step away from the world of science, was it?
Only a step, because the appointment actually allowed me 1/3 of my time to do my own research. The key to developing good research, irrespective of discipline, is to have good people. And good researchers have very similar characteristics, again, regardless of discipline. So although I dealt with 9 faculties, including art and design and law and business studies, I found myself very much at home there. I spent a lot of time on appointment committees and a lot of time listening to individual researchers talking about their work. I found it completely fascinating.
And I believe you were also chair of something called Saving British Science at that time?
It was actually called Save British Science. It was started in 1987 in response to the depredations of the Thatcher government. I joined the executive committee about 2 years later and became chairman towards the end of the 90s. It was a fascinating experience because we met politicians really from right across the board. We had a fascinating discussion with Tony Blair, who at one stage was leader of the opposition. When we laid out what the parlous state of British science was, his response was, well, if it's that bad, shouldn't we just let it go? Fortunately, he had his tongue in his cheek when he said that, and as is well known, his government and Gordon Brown's government that followed it have been very supportive of British science, as indeed have most of the governments since then.
Your 6th record is something that we as a choir plan to perform in 2023. Why have you chosen this?
Very simply, it's the performance that I was involved with the choir that I have the most incredible memories of. It's a wonderful piece.